I love the historic spirit of America, the spirit that said, we believe in the God-given right to life, to liberty, and to the pursuit of happiness. The spirit that said, we pledge our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor to the cause of these God-given rights. The spirit that said, we're willing to risk it all for the sake of those who come after us. That's the American spirit. The American spirit is seen in the people and the events in the 13 colonies in the 1750s and 60s, when the demands for justice began to stir among the people, and in the decades that followed, as independence from Great Britain was declared, defended, tested, and established. The American spirit is heard in the words of a fiery Massachusetts attorney named James Otis, who stood in the courtroom in 1761, defending his client against the king's writs of assistance. As Mr. Otis made his case, he emphasized that every man has a God-given right to his life, his liberty, and his property. He stressed that no other person on earth had a right to threaten a man's right to his life, his liberty, and his property. And though this concept sounds very normal to you and me, it was a revolutionary concept in the colonies in the 1760s. And a concept considered to be treasonous against the King of England. But a 25-year-old rookie lawyer named John Adams sat in the courtroom during that trial, and the words of James Otis took deep root in John Adams' mind. The American spirit stirred in the heart of John Adams. The American spirit is seen in the life of Samuel Adams, John's cousin. Samuel Adams was a patriot, a man who believed in, stood for, and was passionate about liberty and justice. He worked to stir his fellow citizens to care about liberty and justice. In the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Samuel Adams was one of the undercover leaders of a group of freedom advocates known as the Sons of Liberty. The American spirit is seen in the Virginia House of Burgesses in 1765, when on his 29th birthday, the newly elected House member, Patrick Henry, presented a list of resolutions in defense of liberty. His speech was interrupted by a cry of, "Treason! Treason!" from the Speaker of the House, to which Patrick Henry replied, "If this be treason, then make the most of it." The spirit of America was spreading through the colonies by the beginning of 1769. The spirit of liberty that had been largely confined to Massachusetts and Virginia had spread to New York and Philadelphia. That American spirit was seen in the night of December 16th, 1773, when a group of patriots boarded 3 ships and dumped all the tea into Boston Harbor to enforce the boycott of England's tea. King George responded with the statement, "The die is now cast. The colonists must either submit or triumph." On June 1st, 1774, Parliament's Port Act forbade any ships from entering Boston Harbor. When the Virginia House of Burgesses received that news, they declared a day of prayer and fasting under the leadership of Patrick Henry and Thomas Jefferson. A Congress was called to be held in Philadelphia in September of 1774. A new resolve was forming in the minds of the delegates, perhaps best stated by Patrick Henry. The distinctions between Virginians, Pennsylvanians, New Yorkers, and New Englanders are no more. I am not a Virginian, but an American. The American spirit was personified once again by Patrick Henry on March 23rd, 1775, when he spoke the immortal words, "Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." The American spirit was seen in Boston when the signal was given by lantern in the belfry of the Old North Church, giving the warning that British soldiers were on their way. It was seen in the famous midnight ride of Paul Revere to call men to arms. It was seen on April 19th, 1775 in Lexington, as a group of brave, ill-equipped, mostly inexperienced soldiers stood up to the best-trained army in the world. And as the shot heard round the world was fired, the fight for liberty, justice, and independence officially began. The spirit of America can be seen in the face of every continental soldier, in every battle, in the war that purchased our liberty and independence. The spirit that says, we believe in the God-given right to life, to liberty, and to the pursuit of happiness. The spirit that said, we pledge our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor to the cause of those God-given rights. The spirit that said, we're willing to risk it all for the sake of those who come after us. The spirit that makes America the land of the free, the home of the brave. American Christian, as you celebrate your country's birthday, thank God for the spirit of America and pray for it to endure. Stay the course.